All right, breaking news is in. The Washington Commanders have traded for Debi Samuel. So it looks like that the Washington Commanders have traded for Debi Samuel. It looks like in exchange for a fifth-round pick, Debi Samuel will be now a Washington Commander. This is a trade that cannot be officially processed until the new league year begins on Wednesday, March the 12th. But the Washington Commanders have executed the trade. So now we're going to be talking about if this is a good thing for the Washington Commanders. Was this a deal that was too much for the Commanders? Is this something that's going to work out on the field? So let's start once again going back with just the familiar standpoint that Debi Samuel has really with this Washington Commanders team, because Adam Peters was the assistant GM with the 49ers. And so he was there when Debi Samuels was drafted. And so there is the link there. And then also you have Coach Anthony Lynn, who is our running back coach, who was with the San Francisco 49ers. And so I'm sure he is very familiar, with Debi Samuel, especially as being a running back. And so I think that that is certainly going to help in his transition moving over. And I think now when we start to look at the fit and what Debi Samuel can do for the Washington Commanders, I talked about this yesterday and I do like it. And I think that the main thing that Debi Samuel is going to do for the Washington Commanders is he is going to be the player that is going to open it up for this team on got to have it downs. And what do I mean by that? And so look, the Washington Commanders, that we're going to be aggressive on fourth down. We're definitely going to be aggressive on third down. We've talked about this throughout the season, how this team is really dominated in time of possession. You do that by continuing to move the sticks. Debi Samuel is a player that can absolutely move the sticks for you still. Look, with his ability to catch the football over the middle of the field with these underneath routes, I think that he still has enough juice to turn a 3-4 yard run or pass catch, into a 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe a house call for you, because he can still run after the catch. And he is definitely a powerful runner that he's going to go through some contact. I know he's kind of slowed down a bit. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But I do think you do get the added bonus with Debi Samuel in those gotta have it moments. And so I would love to see that with him being across the middle of the field. Just when we need to have a critical first down or a catch, I think that Debi Samuel has shown that he can be a sure-handed receiver in those moments. And plus, you are getting a player that has been in the Super Bowl. And so that definitely bodes well when you bring a player over that has had some Super Bowl experience. He's been to the top. You bring that into the locker room. Hopefully we're able to bring back Bobby Wagner and Zach Ertz. And I feel like that actually adds to really the foundation of the Washington Commanders. When we're talking about just being competitive, we're talking about the character, we're talking about the standard. And so I think that is why it's another good fit for the Washington Commanders. And then when you look at it in regards to what he would do with Terry McLaurin, I think that with Cliff Kingsbury, he's going to be able to put Debi Samuel into multiple sets. And because now you get a chance to either move him on the same side as Terry McLaurin, you can move him opposite, you can put him in motion, you can put him into the backfield. There's so many different things that he does, and he's not going to occupy the same space on the route tree as Debi Samuel. And so I really think that with the added dimension of what he does as a player, that's going to open it up. I think that that's going to cause the defense into some shifts and maybe get them into some mismatches. You think about Jaden Daniels in the pocket, buying time. They're not going to necessarily be able to cover Terry McLaurin or Debi Samuel, for that amount of time. They just need a little, just a little space to get the football, and both of these guys can turn a play into something huge. And so I think that is where you get the added dimension with the fact that he is going to put really some havoc on a defense, just where Cliff Kingsbury will shift him and try to get him the football. I talked about this in the screen game. I think that Debi Samuel is going to be an excellent screen catcher for this team. I think that he still has the ability to take those short passes and turn those into something that's basically an extension of the run. And so when you look at just the comparison as far as the yards after the catch, just according to this article that we're looking at right now, the Washington Commanders were 21st in the NFL at 5.1 yards last season, and that's yards after catch. Deebo Samuel, look, he's at 9 yards after the catch. And so that is what you are adding to your team. And so I absolutely love this. And then as far as what the Washington Commanders gave up for him, I think it is a steal when you give up a 5th-round pick for Deebo Samuel. Because, look, a 5th-round pick, who knows what that is going to turn out to? I know that there have been some good players that have come late in the draft. I know that there's the Tom Brady, Kittle, a whole bunch of other players that have been good, with later round selections. But the bottom line is the Commanders, for a 5th-round pick, you get a player that has been, exceptional in this league. He gives you some juice. According again to this article, look, over the last 4 years, 958 yards as a rusher and 17 touchdowns, 244 receptions with 559 yards and 18 touchdowns. And that's with his production really slipping over the last couple seasons. And so I think with his juice, it's certainly going to help out. And then when you look at the fact that the Washington Commanders are taking on the salary of about $17.5 million, that's just the report right now. It might be a little bit more. The 49ers are going to basically take on the $31 million cap hit this season, but they're going to be off the books after that. But I like this deal. I think it's something from a cost-effective situation. It almost turns into a bit of a wash because, remember, the Washington Commanders are looking to move on from Jonathan Allen. And I think that if they do move on from Jonathan Allen, they're saving right around 16 to 17 million against the cap. And from what one report suggests here, it is saying that the Washington Commanders were actually thinking about including Jonathan Allen in the deal, but it just did not happen. And so, that just tells you that, look, the Washington Commanders have thought about this. And this was Jeremy Fowler of ESPN that was saying that that he was included or possibly could have been included, but it just fell apart where they just went ahead and did the deal for Deebo Samuel. So you most certainly, if that report is true, then this certainly means that, Jonathan Allen is going to be moved on from. And so you can factor that into, whatever salary that you have to pay for Deebo Samuel. And I think that it makes sense. Look, it's a chance for him now to be in a prove-it-year situation. I think he's going to put his best foot forward. I think that, you bring back these veterans with him. I think that, that helps your locker room. And I just think that, again, the Washington Commanders take the right step forward. And when we look at this draft capital one more time that they gave up for him, in comparison to what they did to get Marshawn Lattimore, which I think was not a whole bunch to get him, where they went and they traded off a 5th-round pick. They also traded off a 3rd, a 4th, and a 6th. Or excuse me, they traded off a 3rd, 4th, and 6th-round pick for Lattimore in exchange for Marshawn Lattimore and a 5th-round pick. Like, I think that Adam Peters does a great job as far as just using draft capital properly in these trades. I think that he does a great job there. He doesn't necessarily give up the farm, but he's still aggressive enough to get us a player that certainly is going to help us out and not really take away all the draft capital. He doesn't necessarily command a whole bunch of salary. This is in a prove-it year, and you get a guy that as much as they talk about character and stuff like that, if anybody knows him, it's Adam Peters and Coach Anthony Lynn. So they definitely know they're getting a player that certainly could fit with the Washington Commanders. And so let me know in the comments what you think here. I'm super excited about it. And I will say this, even with Deebo Samuel, I think that you still have to go out and you still need to get a wide receiver. Now, whether that comes in the draft or whether that comes via free agent, I think you still need that, because Deebo Samuel, as great as he is with the hands, as great as he is with the yards after the catch, you still need a player that I think can maybe generate some more separation and things like that. I think that certainly gives you another dimension to the offense. Don't get me wrong here, but if we just were to just keep Deebo Samuels and Terry McLaurin, I still think we're going to be good. But I think that this team is not just wanting to be good. I think that they want to be great. That's why I think that they are absolutely going to add another wide receiver, either via trade or free agency. And so anyway, let me know in the comments what you think here. Do you think that Debi Samuel was a great pickup for the Washington Commanders. Do you feel like he still has some juice left? I think he does, despite the injuries. I think that he can definitely put it together, and I don't think that the Washington Commanders are going to put him in a situation where he's going to be strictly just a runner like he was with the 49ers. And not saying he was strictly that with them, but I think maybe a bit of that road diminishes. But I think that you can absolutely still slot him in, especially when it comes down to some goal line situations, or you need to get some yardage, for that first down marker. I think that he definitely adds another dimension for the backfield. Can't wait to see him in these wide receiver reverses and a whole bunch of other things that Cliff Kingsbury is going to use. So anyway, let me know. Go Commanders, and I will see you on the next one. All right, peace.